Some things in this world were never meant to be seen by human eyes. But time and time again, mankind pushes beyond its boundaries, driven by curiosity, ambition, or desperation. And when we look too closely into the dark, sometimes the dark looks back. This is the story of a classified optical device, engineered in secrecy by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. Officially, it was a tool, but unofficially, it was a key that opened a doorway to something vast, unknowable, and terrifying. What it revealed could never be unseen, and what slipped through would haunt those involved for the rest of their lives. In the cold corridors of a restricted defense lab in 1966, a secret project was unfolding, one buried so deep in the intelligence archives that even those working on it only knew fragments. Codenamed Project Spectre, its surface-level objective was simple: create night vision equipment that surpassed anything previously available. But the true objective was more radical. Intelligence recovered from post-war Nazi research and intercepted Soviet transmissions hinted at an extraordinary possibility: that human sight, when chemically altered and technologically enhanced, could pierce the veil between dimensions. The military didn't just want to see in the dark. They wanted to see beyond. The heart of the project lay in a substance called Dianin X, a synthetic crystal originally developed by Soviet scientists studying anomalous visual perception. When treated and embedded into the lens matrix of the goggles, it created a filter, unlike anything seen before literally. Test subjects reported intense sensations, impossible colors, spatial distortions, even glimpses of structures that seemed to float in midair. But it wasn't just hallucination. When multiple users described the same exact phenomenon, researchers realized they had crossed into something far more dangerous. The goggles weren't malfunctioning. They were working too well. What they showed was real, and real enough to reach back. The first live field test happened under the cover of darkness in Firebase Echo, an isolated American outpost known for frequent Viet Cong ambushes and inexplicable communication breakdowns. 3 soldiers were chosen to wear the goggles on. A midnight patrol. They were monitored remotely. Their vitals spiked almost immediately. One reported seeing something wrong with the trees before screaming abruptly and tearing the device off his head. Another went silent for hours before emerging, wide-eyed and catatonic, muttering about a watcher with no face. The third never returned. A search party found only his helmet, resting upright at the base of a tree, and deep gouges in the earth that looked more like claw marks than footprints. The aftermath was swift and secretive. Project Spectre was declared unstable and shut down, at least officially. But insiders whispered of shadow meetings and containment specialists flown in to analyze what had been let loose. One technician who reviewed the field data suffered a mental break after watching footage from the goggles. He described seeing a city made of bone hovering in the night sky. Another researcher, obsessed with the project, was later found in his office surrounded by mirrors and symbols scrawled in blood, and in his final log entry, he claimed the goggles did not reveal the other world. They summoned it. Time passed, but the memories didn't fade. Soldiers who used the goggles suffered recurring nightmares, visions of long hallways with no end, or eyes peering from cracks in the earth. Some reported waking up with nosebleeds or finding unfamiliar footprints near their beds. Several took their own lives. Those who survived long enough to speak of it said the same thing. Once you looked through the lens, something looked back, and it remembered you. A few veterans, in moments of weakness or madness, described feeling pulled toward specific places like the ruins of Firebase Echo or certain mountain ranges in Southeast Asia, places that, to this day, remain off-limits to civilians. The deeper horror of Project Spectre wasn't the fear of failure, but the terror of success. What they built did exactly what it was designed to do. It allowed human eyes to pierce the veil, to see the seams in the fabric of space and time. But vision is not a passive act. To see is to interact. To focus is to invite. The Spectre goggles weren't just a viewing tool, they were a beacon, and what they called forth responded. One scientist who survived the initial shutdown described the device as a reverse lighthouse that didn't guide ships to safety, but instead called predators from the deep. Years later, whispers of a secret cache emerged. A single set of Spectre goggles, preserved in a cryogenic container deep beneath an abandoned military complex in Alaska. Protected by biometric locks, triple authorization, and watched around the clock. Officially, nothing of the sort exists. But unofficially, there are signs. A spike in electromagnetic activity, hushed arrivals of personnel with no identification, and security clearances well above top secret. One whistleblower, whose testimony was quickly buried, claimed that the device had been reactivated, not by the military, but by private contractors exploring cognitive warfare, a new frontier where reality itself could be weaponized. Now, across the globe, reports are surfacing once more. Hikers disappearing in regions tied to Spectre operations. Disturbing images found embedded in signal interference. And most chilling of all, encounters with humanoid figures seen only at the edge of perception, visible for mere seconds, yet felt for hours afterward. Eyewitnesses described them as thin, pale, with glowing red irises and unnatural movement. Authorities dismissed these accounts as mass hysteria or misidentified wildlife. But those who know the truth believe something is moving again. Not just watching, preparing, because once that door was cracked open, it never truly closed. What then was the true nature of the Spectre goggles? A scientific marvel? A cursed relic? Or a mirror into another reality that always existed parallel to ours? Perhaps they didn't open the door at all. Perhaps they simply revealed it, a door that was always there, waiting for someone foolish enough to look. The real question isn't whether we can survive what we saw. It's whether we can survive knowing it's still there, waiting for someone else to pick up the lens and peer into the beyond. What we perceive changes us. But worse than that, Doc, it might change what's waiting on the other side. Thank you for walking with us through this shadowed story. If you felt something watching, maybe it wasn't just your imagination. Maybe you caught a glimpse, just for a moment, of something real, something ancient. Subscribe for more buried truths that were never meant to be uncovered. And remember, there are some lenses that don't just show you the world. They show the world you. And the moment it sees you, it never looks away. Buried Files, stories the world tried to bury. Like, subscribe, and comment your opinions.